Imagine this. The car you drive every day isn't just driving you around, it's watching you. Every move, every location, every single conversation. Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're looking at a story that's completely shaking up the auto industry. See, in 2026, the US government took this threat so seriously that it banned an entire car company, Polestar, right out of the American market. We're talking massive government regulations, the survival of legendary auto brands, and a huge shift in how we think about the vehicles sitting in our very own driveways.
If you own a connected car right now, or you're planning to buy one anytime soon, this is something you absolutely need to hear because it could entirely change how you think about your next vehicle purchase. For the longest time, we just thought of our cars as mechanical tools, metal, engines, tires. But that reality, it's fundamentally changed.
Let's dive right into what's actually going on here. Modern cars aren't just vehicles anymore. They are highly advanced computers on wheels, and they come standard with an absolute arsenal of built-in surveillance tech. We're talking GPS systems perfectly tracking your exact location, always-on cameras looking inside and outside, highly sensitive cabin microphones picking up what you're saying, and persistent internet connectivity tying the whole shebang together. Now sure, this stuff is incredible for navigation and safety, but it also creates an unprecedented data footprint of your daily life.
And it's exactly that massive data footprint that triggered a monumental shift in US policy. The US government recognized this massive vulnerability, and they abruptly decided to act. The Department of Commerce enacted a sweeping regulation known as the Connected Vehicle Rule. The explicit goal here? To completely strip foreign-linked vehicle technology right off American roads. The impact of this rule wasn't delayed or phased in slowly. It hit absolutely immediately in 2026. The government viewed this as such a severe threat that Polestar, a brand that had just been posting record-breaking sales in the US just months prior, was practically overnight pushed completely out of the market.
So, why the sudden drastic action? Well, the US government's position is actually pretty simple. It focuses entirely on what they're calling the ultimate vulnerability. Their core argument is that if a vehicle's software or its underlying tech is linked to foreign adversaries, specifically calling out China and Russia, it represents an unacceptable national security threat.
Think about the worst-case scenario for lawmakers here. Unregulated foreign software creates a terrifying theoretical window. An adversary could use it for covert mass data collection or real-time location tracking of millions of citizens. Or, and this is the one that really alarms the Commerce Department, remote access. Just picture driving down the highway, knowing another country might literally have the ability to remotely access or even hijack your car's systems. That is the exact nightmare they're trying to prevent.
Which brings us right back to the reality of Polestar. This is exactly why they were targeted. Now, you might know Polestar for its sleek design and Scandinavian roots, but here's the reality. The company is majority owned by the Chinese tech and automotive giant Geely. Because of that direct ownership linked to China, the Commerce Department stepped in and told Polestar that starting with the 2027 model year, they simply couldn't sell cars in the United States anymore. Period.
But listen, Polestar is just the first domino to fall here. This is a rapidly escalating timeline. First, 2026, Polestar gets pushed out. Then, starting in 2027, there's an outright ban on all Chinese-linked software in any new models. And then, by 2029, the hammer drops completely with a total ban on all Chinese-made automotive hardware. This is a systematic, step-by-step dismantling of foreign tech in the U.S. auto sector.
And to emphasize just how serious this is, the executive branch isn't the only one acting. Capitol Hill is moving fast. A Republican and a Democrat senator actually joined forces to introduce a landmark bipartisan bill titled the Connected Vehicle Security Act of 2026. In today's deeply divided political climate, getting that kind of swift, bipartisan agreement, that's a massive signal that lawmakers are viewing this as an absolute top priority.
But the support doesn't end with lawmakers. We are seeing unprecedented backing from the auto industry itself. American titans like General Motors and Ford are throwing their full weight behind this government intervention. And this shows how much the stakes have changed. They aren't just looking at this as some basic data privacy issue. No way. They view these regulations as a fundamental fight for the survival of the U.S. auto industry against foreign competitors with deeply integrated supply chains.
But let's pause for a second, right? Every story has two sides. Industry experts are cautioning that this creates a massive dilemma. On one hand, you have the absolute necessity of national security, preventing data theft, stopping remote access by foreign adversaries. But on the other side, you're sacrificing the speed of innovation. By enacting these bans, the U.S. is essentially cutting itself off from cheaper, highly advanced global EV technologies. It's a direct collision between safety and progress.
To really grasp that second part, we have to look at what experts call the innovation gap, which is being heavily driven by the rapid rise of companies like BYD. Chinese EV makers have aggressively pulled ahead on the global stage. Why? Because they own their entire ecosystem. They're designing batteries in-house, they're producing proprietary microchips, writing their own software. This kind of incredible vertical integration lets them build cheaper cars at a much faster rate than practically anyone else.
So, by severing ties with that advanced ecosystem, the American auto industry is facing some very real, systemic risks. If U.S. automakers can't tap into those global advancements, they face slower development cycles and significantly higher production costs. Ultimately, American companies run the very real risk of falling dangerously behind in the global race, especially when it comes to critical next-gen stuff like advanced charging tech and sophisticated self-driving systems. It's a massive trade-off.
So what does all of this actually mean for you, the person who just wants to drive their car? Well, with the entire automotive landscape undergoing this seismic shift, everyday consumers need to radically rethink how they purchase their next vehicle. You're no longer just comparing horsepower or battery range. You are literally evaluating the geopolitical standing of your car's underlying software. If you're planning to buy a new car in the next couple of years, there are a few things you absolutely must check before you even step foot in a dealership. Step 1. Check where the car's software was actually developed. Step 2. Investigate who owns the parent company. As we saw with Polestar and Geely, a brand might sound European but have foreign ownership. And Step 3. Verify if that model is likely to have long-term U.S. market support. You have to ensure the vehicle you buy today won't fall victim to the sweeping regulations coming tomorrow.
Because the risks of getting this wrong are severe. If you purchase a car that eventually gets banned, its resale value could evaporate literally overnight. You could face an immediate lack of service support, meaning mechanics might not be able to get parts or run diagnostics. Over-the-air software updates would just cease entirely, freezing your car's systems in time. It all cascades into severe, long-term reliability issues for a vehicle you just spent tens of thousands of dollars on. Stepping back, the bigger picture here is crystal clear. We have officially entered an era where cars are now geopolitics. That vehicle sitting in your garage, it's no longer just transportation to get you from point A to point B. It's an active chess piece in global international relations. The line between consumer technology and national defense has been completely erased.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question. Is this sweeping connected vehicle rule a vital national security necessity, or is it an innovation killer that's going to leave the U.S. auto industry lagging behind the rest of the world? Let us know in the comments where you stand on this. If you found this explainer useful, go ahead and hit that like button.
And make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the fascinating collision of technology and policy. See you in the next explainer. Until then, take care of your car and your privacy.